Hi guys, Nick here. Today we're just going to be going through some chain fitting. We've got a Scania K440 today for the demonstration. We're going to be fitting chains to the drive axle of the coach. And this is basically a nice standardised technique that we use to fit chains. So I'm just going to go through what we have in the coach here. And this is what you should have, particularly if you're on a longer journey. We've got chocks in case we need to chop the front wheels. For example, if we're on a slope. We've got our toolbox here. I'm going to empty the contents of that shortly and show you. We've got our chains and bungees here, front chains as well for really rough days, and our mat to lie on and kneel on as well. So this is all generally stored on the right hand locker of a coach. On the other side you have your storage locker. So just looking at the drive axle here, this is what we're going to be putting chains on today. And we'll show you a nice easy way to do it. So just stand by and we'll get organised and we'll get underway. So good to have a good set of gloves, guys. These leather ones are really good. Your hands are always going to get a little bit wet, but these are really good and just stops you from nicking your fingers and things like that. So always have a good set of gloves with you. Cable ties. So cable ties can be really handy if you need to fix a broken link on the chain, just for short-term fix. Really handy. They come in handy for many other things on a coach as well. And when you're using your cable ties, you have your little set of pliers here. You can clip the cable ties or clip any other excess materials that may be causing you problems. This is a good toolkit to have for general coach driving anyway, and a speed de-shackle. Again, if you get a broken chain link, this is a must. Okay, we've got some rags in here if we need to wipe anything. A hammer. This can be useful for banging off excess ice and snow to give yourself a clear view of what you're doing. And just some other basic tools that may come in handy: a small shifting spanner and a flathead screwdriver, but we won't need those unless it's accentuating circumstances. Okay guys, now the other important thing is when you're out on the road is to be visible. So I always like to have a good waterproof high vis jacket, especially on a snowy day, which is when you're going to be fitting chains. So make sure you're visible, protects your clothes underneath. Again, depends what pants you want to wear. These are just quick dry trousers I'm wearing, so I can wear these when I'm driving the coach, and also when I'm fitting the chains, because they dry very quickly. So it saves you having to muck around putting overpants on. So put this on, put the gloves on. Like so. Now what I'm going to do is get the chains out. Pretty basic stuff, guys. Watch your back. Okay, use your legs. So they're quite heavy, so I just get the bucket out. Like so. Okay, we have our bungee cords here. Okay folks, so as you can see I've got my chains out of the bucket. So really important to lay them out. Now I'm just going to demonstrate here. There's a couple of wee kinks in these chains. So you just want to make sure they're nice and flat. Getting your kinks out. Make sure your ice breakers are facing upways, because that's what's going to dig into the ice and snow. So just take your time. Make sure they're all ready to go before you just go and chuck them on. Otherwise you're just going to waste time and get yourself in a bit of a tangle. So what I did there is I just went inside and out because it was a little bit buckled. So make sure that's nice and flat, and the hooks at the edge are nice and flat. There we go. Right, so they're all nice and flush. If anything's sitting up like this, it means you've got to go under and over until you get them nice and flush to the ground. Okay, so now that chain's ready to go. Looking at the other chain, the same. They've been put away very well, so there's not too many issues, but always just check them, get any little kinks out, because this will affect how the chain fits on the wheel as well. So you're better to take time at this point than have any problems further down the line. And if they can just stay on the bus, so you can concentrate on getting your chain sorted out. So take your time, don't rush. Now I'm just going to demonstrate how to pick up the chain. Okay, so this particular chain here is 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, I'm then going to put my wrists, hands under the inside, the chain, part of the chain that's facing me, closest to me, and then grip the top of the chain on the other side of the chain. 1, 2, 3, 4. Do the same here. Right, use my legs to stand up. Now I've got my chains and I'm ready to slide them onto the tyre. And I've got my hand holding the outside chain and my hand holding the inside part of the chain. I'm now going to slide them over the tyre, like so. So this enables you to get the chain over the inside part of the tyre, okay? Then I'm going to release my grip from the inside chain. And then I've got my hands free. I can just get them in the right place. Then I slide my hands out, like so. Now I've got them on. Now I'm going to take some time to make sure they're all as they should be, make some little adjustments before I attempt to do them up, okay? Make sure your hooks are out and flat on both sides, the outside hook and the inside hook. You don't want to run them over and squash them. You don't want them to get tangled when you're about to go and do them up, okay? So just, when you first streak them over, they're a little bit messy, just flatten them out, get them in the right place, okay? So you know that you're not going to have any hassles. This is the time I can take just to adjust them a little bit. So I'm just going to make sure they're nice and even around the rim of the tyre. So it's roughly an even distance from the rim, from the tread down to the tyre wall, okay? So take your time, this bit's really critical. Don't rush. Again, get your chain links in the right place, okay? Make sure there's no twists and kinks, recheck that. Again, you've done your prep work when you got the chains out, so you're less likely to have hassles once the chains are on the tyre. However, just double check, okay, my icebreakers are in the right place. There's no twists or kinks. They're flush, they're even. And now we're ready to back up at about 90 degrees, about halfway up approximately, the tyre, so I can get have a little bit of slack and have a good access to the hook and the outside buckle. Fit them. Now I can already tell there's not a lot of extra space or slack with these chains, okay? They're very good, well fitted chains. Sometimes that can mean they're a little bit more difficult to do up, but the end result's much better, so you've just got to take your time, okay? Don't panic. Always secure the inside hook first. If you don't, you risk your chains going into the inside of the dual tyres and you have to take the wheel off to get them out. So your trip's not going to be going anywhere for a while if you do that. Inside hook first is absolutely critical. All right, okay, so in this particular case, because the chains are well fitted, I'm probably just going to use the last loop, the last link on the chain. If your chains are a little bit big or a bit sloppy, you may go to the second or third loop. If you do that, you must be very sure that the extra links aren't going to fly around inside the wheel arch and take any lines or cables out inside the mechanics of the bus, okay? But if the chains are fitted really perfectly, the inside link should be perfect, if not the second link. So I'm just going to reach in. Now this bus doesn't have arches that lift up. Some buses do have the wheel arches that lift right up, so you can almost do this standing up, but this one doesn't. Okay, so it's a little bit more awkward, but you just, again, take your time. If you've got everything, done all your first steps correctly, you'll be fine. So I've got the hook in here. Okay, this is the hook inside here. I'm going to reach up and hook it in. Okay, so I've attached it. Alright, so because I couldn't get my arm through this gap, I've gone under like this so I can reach up and hook it on. Okay, again, if you've got wheel arches that lift, you can almost reach right over quite comfortably, but you never know what type of coach you're going to be driving. Alright, so I've done the inside hook. I'm now going to take a bit of slack here, pull it up. Now this might take a bit of playing around to make sure you get the right tension on the chain. Okay, so I'm going to go looking at these chains. I'm going to start maybe 4th loop, see how we go with that. Let's see how we go. So the back of the hook goes inside the loop like so. Okay, so not the hook, the back of the hook goes inside the loop. You fold it back like so. Okay, so you fold it back and then you've got your clip up here. Now I'm already feeling that's probably a bit tight. Okay, so I'm going to take it off, just this outside bit, and I'm going to go one more loop towards the edge. So now I'm going to the 3rd loop instead of the 4th loop, because I think that was a fraction tight. Back of the hook in through the loop. Okay, put the hook inside the loop, make sure that other loop's not in the way. Okay, we've got it this time. And now hook the chain like so into your hook there. Okay, look at that. So what I want to explain here, guys, is there's a little bit of slack, but not much. Right now, I could have gone with that next loop in and made them really, really tight, but remember, you got your bungees. Now this is a fine line. You don't want them so sloppy. Bungees don't fix everything, so they've got to be pretty well fitted. Okay, then your bungees just add that little bit more tension. If they're really sloppy, bungees aren't a magic fix. They help, but these are really well fitted chains. Okay, I have driven buses where the chains are too big. You got to fiddle around a bit more, maybe use some extra bungee cords, but these are really, really good. Now, as you saw too when I was doing up that outside hook, first loop was a little tight, went for the 2nd loop, got myself in a little bit of a tangle with my gloves, undid it again, took a breath, hooked them in nice and easily. Okay, so just take your time. So the back of the hook goes through the loop, fold it back on itself, and then clip it into the extra link here. Okay, let's just show you one more time. Okay, so I'm going to undo it now. So there's the hook. Okay, back of the hook. So we don't do this, that's wrong. Okay, we don't do that. The back of the hook in through the chain, take a bit of tension, folds up nicely into the loop. Easy as that. Look at that. Right, now I'm going to put the bungees on just so I'm really happy with a really nice snug fit. Okay. I'm going to demonstrate both types of bungees actually, because you may have one or the other. Okay. So this is our newer bungee cords. Alright, so we're going to come over to the coach. I like to start from the bottom and pull up. The reason is that is for safety. If I'm pulling down, I lose my grip, they can fling back up in your face. Okay, so try and find the middle part of the wheel, halfway around the tyre. You've got your you've got your 6 arms. I'm going to pull up to the top of the chain, roundabout, so it's roundabout sort of 180. Okay, this one here, there's a bit of loose chain here because there's a couple of extra links. They can sometimes move around and they could potentially damage the paint on the bus. So I'm just going to make sure they're nice and folded in and make sure my link for the bungees captures those extra links as well. just so they're nice and secure. Oops. Like so. And just spread these out nice and evenly. Well, evenly enough anyway. Okay. I'm looking at that, I'm thinking, yeah, that's pretty good, but I'd like them just a little bit more even. So, I'm going to move that one over a little bit. Right, I think that's looking really good. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to move the bus forward and back a little bit just to make sure they're still nice and sitting nicely, and then you can do a little bit of an adjustment. So I'm just going to do that now. Okay guys, so I've just moved the bus forward and back, just a little bit forward, just or back, just to check my chains. Okay, so I'm just going to have a wee look here. It's pulled down a little bit here, so I just want to tidy that up a little bit. So I'm just going to take my bungees off. Just tidy that up a little bit. I mean, they're pretty good, but I'm just being a little bit fussy here. Make sure they're nice and even. And I'm just going to re-bungee here. Right, so now that I've moved the chains, I'm able to more easily secure this extra link, so I don't want it flicking around and damaging the paint. So I'm happier with that now. And these bungees are really, really good. They're very user-friendly. That one over there a little bit. Right, I'm happy with that. So I'm happy with that. There's not too much flex in the chains. Just a little bit of play. You don't want them so tight you can't, but you don't want them sloppy either. So that's about right. Again, I could have got an extra link on the outside when I did them up. They would have been really, really tight. Don't put pressure on yourself. If you can fix up a bit of slack with the bungees, do that. But remember, the chains must be reasonably well fitted before you put the bungees on. Okay guys, I just thought I'd show you this more traditional type of bungee, because again, you don't know what bus you're going to get. You might have these bungees on the bus. This is what I remember in my early ski bus career and Milford career with these black bungee cords. They're pretty good too. Those yellow ones are extra good, but these do the job. Okay, again, I'm going to start at the top. Some people say start from the bottom. This is how I do it, okay? Sorry, I'm going to start from the bottom, I mean. Some people start from the top. I do it from the bottom because I don't want to flick up into my face if I have too much tension or miss the hook, okay? So, first thing to do, make sure your hooks are sort of evenly spaced around the bungee rope, okay? As I said, go from the bottom. Okay, and straight up, like so. Okay, so we're about vertical here. Go to the right. You need a bit of muscle here, like so. And then to the left, or left to right, it doesn't really matter. Right, now see what I mean? We're gonna, right, okay, so I'm finding that a little bit difficult. So what I'm gonna do is just move this top one over a little bit. This is why they're not quite as adaptable as the yellow ones, but I'm just going to move this top one over a little bit and see if that frees up this left side so I can get enough pull on it. once we reach the side. Got it. Okay. So you got to work with what you've got. Okay. This doesn't look perfectly symmetrical, but it's done the job. Look at those chains. They're nice and tight. They're not going anywhere. I would have liked that to be a little bit more centre, but I had to move it a little bit to the left so I had enough strength to get the left side over, because they're quite tight, those bungees. But that's the black bungee cord. Okay, I'll take them off. Again, go from the top. You don't want to fling up into your face. So go from the top. Or actually, go from the side if it's easier. Give yourself a bit of slack. Just take this one, whatever one's easiest for you. You just got to play around a bit. There we go. Now go from the top, and then each side. You won't need to worry about a gym membership doing these. Okay, so that's how you fit snow chains to in this case, a tag axle coach. I hope that's made it clear for you. Biggest things to remember: give yourself a clean workspace, take your chains out, spread them out, check them, count your loops, grip them, hook them over your outside chain over your wrist, grip the inside loop and slide them over. Now, before I go, I just do want to show you how to take them off and pack them up so they're nice for the next person or yourself if you're back on the road. Okay guys, I'm now going to undo the chains. So the best way to do it is, in order to get your inside chain off, particularly if it's a well fitted chain like this, you do have to give yourself some slack by undoing the outside link first. Okay, what you don't want to do though is for your chains to then slide in between the jewels when you're doing that, otherwise you'll have the same problem I'd mentioned earlier in the video. So what I do is I undo my chain like this, but instead of taking it right out, well, I do take it right out, I then just rehook it like this so I don't lose the chain. So that's not, remember when you do it up you do it like this, but I'm taking it off. I'm just going to hook it there. That now gives me some slack to get the inside hook off without risking the chain sliding in between the jewel. So I'm reaching over, a bit of slack, this can be a bit tricky, but, and I have undone the inside hook. Okay, now lay that down like so, finish undoing the outside hook. Now even though I've got the chain undone, I'm not going to rush here. I'm going to make sure they're nice and spread out, so I'm not going to squash anything. I'm going to roll the bus back or forwards. Slide it off the front nicely here. Watch the paintwork. And just so you're not going to make them messy for the next person or yourself. Now I just want to reiterate again, some people will say, and I've done it myself in the past, you may be able to get the inside hook off first, which eliminates any risk of losing them through in between the jewels. However, often that inside hook, if you've fitted them really well, is quite tight. That's where I use my technique and just partially undo the outside link and hook it. I'm not going to risk losing the chain, but it gives me that slack so I can undo the inside hook a little bit easier. Try and make it easy for yourself. Okay? Right, now I'm just going to simply move the bus forward, or in this case maybe backwards, and I'm going to show you how to pack up the chains. Okay guys, I'm just going to show you how to pack up the chains nicely so they're okay for you the next day or the next driver. Again, this is how I do it. Okay, so I'm going to get the box out. or actually what you can do as well is you can actually leave the box here, because that's you saving to lift the heavy box back into the coach. Alright, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to grab my chains. They're nice and flat still because I haven't tangled them up. I'm going to pull them out like so, put my legs over top of them, put them over the bucket, and I'm going to feed them in like so. Really carefully, so I don't want to get tangled up with the next guy or girl. So just drop them in nicely, like so. Make sure they don't fold under themselves. Okay. When I get to this point, I'm going to leave the hooks on the outside of the bucket, like that. Then they know that when they go to grab the chains, the hooks are there. They know where the hooks are. They're not going to go digging for the hooks and get things tangled up. Now I'm going to turn the bucket around and feed the other chains in. This is assuming we'll put chains on both sides of the vehicle. This is how I drag them because I don't want to tangle them up. Remember, if you're old like me, use your legs and feed them in. Like so. Take the time. I've got to the end. I'm now going to hook hooks on the outside of the bucket. Okay. So, turn the box back around, got my right chains there, my left chains there. So when I put them, slide them back into position, I know the right hand chains are on this side and the left are on that side to match the coach. So I'm going to put the bungee cords back. On top there's a couple of spare ones, I'll grab these other ones. Put the bungee cords back, get this stuff out of the way, slide these into position. Fold up my mats. This mat here goes in the storage packet box here, and then the other mat I'm going to fold up nicely. Now remember, if you're in a hurry, well not a hurry, but you know, if you're on the road, there could be a little bit of time pressure. You can do this once you get to your destination. You can always put the chains back properly. This other stuff you can sort of throw in reasonably tidily when you get to your hotel or Milford Sound or the top of the ski field. You can have a good tidy up, make sure it's all neat and tidy for the next person. Or you may want things to dry out, so you may leave them out in the locker to dry. But in this case, I'm going to fold everything back up nicely, because our team here in Queenstown have done a really good job of sorting out these kits for us. Gloves. Put those back in as well. So these are really good kits that the guys up here have set up for us. So we really appreciate that as drivers. Done. All good for the next person. Now guys, one thing I want to quickly do, okay, chocks. It's going to depend on your situation whether you use chocks, okay? You're going to try and find a flat spot to put your chains on. However, in certain circumstances, on an access road to a ski field or a certain place in Milford Sound, you could be on a slope. You might not have much of a choice. Now you've got your air brake on the coach, that's going to do a good job holding the bus, but sometimes that doesn't stop things sliding if it's really, really icy. So that's where you've got your chocks. So you just wedge them under the front wheel. Whilst you're fitting your chains, obviously you've got to remove them once you need to move the bus to do up your chains. This just gives you the extra little bit of security. So you put them under the front wheels like so. Okay guys, look, thanks for watching. I hope this has made your chain learning journey easier. Don't forget to speak to senior drivers or your managers or supervisors if you are unsure or unclear on how to fit chains. Make sure you're confident before you're in a position where you need to fit them on the road.